We are back with Casper. Casper, welcome.
Thank you, Graham. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Just a quick check. Is everybody hear us? Okay, we have a little delay between the live and the what people are seeing.
Yes, we're getting greetings. That's good. Hi, guys.
Can everybody hear me? Yes, we can hear you. This is definitely the words of 2021. Can you hear me?
Am I on mute?
You're on mute.
Yes.
Thank you. So I have the pleasure to introduce you Casper. Casper from 23. 23 is a fabulous video marketing platform. We've been using the platform since maybe 3 or 5 years. I don't remember, but it's been a long time we've been using the platform. All the videos you see on our website are hosted on the 23 platform. One of the advantages, I love it, you can create your own YouTube channel, but you host it and you have a great SEO functionality that brings you a lot of traffic. We have a lot of traffic coming from our video. But if you want to use this kind of platform correctly, you need to have a strong strategy and you need to think about video marketing in your marketing strategy as something maybe central. Thank you, Casper, for coming. And I'll let you start and maybe introduce yourself and start your presentation about video marketing and how it's changing the marketing in manufacturing.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Graham, for having me. Actually, I remember a few years back when I met you the first time and your team. We were doing a webinar launch in France at your offices or at a presentation here. So we have quite the history. So I'm very happy to join today. And I'm also very excited about seeing the evolvement in the French market, the French-speaking market, when it comes to visuals and webinars and videos. So I'm very excited to have an entirely new presentation for industrial growth with me here today. My name is Casper Noreen Frid, and I am a video marketing strategist for our global enterprise customers here at 23. At 23, we see video as the human touch point in this digital world where everything is digitalized. And we do so across a few areas. So we work with a lot of customers in the manufacturing industry, within digital in the industrial growth. So it's very exciting to share numbers and facts. And this is what the talk will be about today. So it's not so much about 23, more about our 3 product areas, which is video marketing platform, webinars, and personal videos, and how these things interact with for industrial growth, how you can hack it, how you can use it. We provide the world-leading marketeers in this. If you do not know 23, don't worry about it. We make sure to white label everything. So this is why so many in the manufacturing industry are very interested in working with visuals this way. But enough about us. Let's go to the presentation. Before we get started, you would see on your side over here at the top, you will have the ability to ask questions. So I will try to give you a lot of facts, a lot of how-tos today. If you have any questions, just type them in up here, and we'll make sure to answer everything if we can make it at the end of the webinar, otherwise afterwards, so everyone gets their answers. But talking about questions, setting the scene for video in 2021, I want to ask you guys a question. So what is your preferred way to generate leads? And instead of just doing it openly, there's a new feature down the bottom by the chat that you will see down here. There's reactions. So which of these reactions do you see as the best lead generator for you in the industry right now? So we see Karim is video and webinars. We are very happy about that. Let's get your answers in. It's definitely been a weird year. We saw on webinars, for instance, that it moved like 5 years and 5 weeks suddenly when everything was closed down. So a lot of the traditional channels had to be reverted into a digital setup, which is very exciting, but also really changing the way that we approach it. So suddenly we are working with new area that we really need to adapt to and that we really fast-paced need to jump into. So I'm very happy to see that so many of you talking about video and webinars. That is very nice. But just keep them coming. I will make sure to, obviously it's a mix between all of these, and as Dan talked about as well, like this is definitely that we see a mix. So video will never be the full answer, but it will definitely be part of the solution, and I will tell you why that is. Right now, what we're experiencing is a heavy shift within digital transformation. So it's been going on for a lot of years, but the shift from textual to visual is probably one of the biggest digital transformations since the launch of the internet. So we see all medias, we see all our channels adapting to videos in different ways, and it can be hard for us to understand how to approach it. How can we actually make sure that we see the value? How do we make sure that we don't waste our time and money doing the wrong things, just following trends in this? Luckily, what we see as well is that the majority of your buyers, of people going online on the internet, are actually looking for video. So when we investigate new products and services, we look for video content, and there's a few reasons why this is. So one of the technical explanations in this is obviously that when we hear and see something, we retain much more of the content. So up to 70% doing it this way. So for the end users, and I think in video it's very important in webinars that we do not only talk about how we communicate out, but also how is the user experience for our users and for our content contributors. So it's a mix between these. And here video has a lot of superpowers, if you ask me. So it's a perfect way to simplify the complex. And you would notice from your industry, like when you have like very technical solution, getting on a video can actually explain these things in a very easy way. So all the way from explaining difficult production setups to why doesn't the guy who invented our pricing structure explain the pricing structure in video? If he doesn't explain it in the right way, I mean, who would? So there's a lot of opportunity to simplify the complex. At the same time, we do have like an awesome way of humanizing messaging from our companies. I will show you a lot of examples of this, how to humanize it, how we can use different parts of videos and webinars to humanize our communication. At the same time, this humanization also means that we can actually evoke emotions. So our videos can actually make people respond. And when we buy products, when we buy services, we are responding to emotions many times. We do have RFIs and all these setups where we have to fill out sheets, but emotions is a big way or big part of how we buy products, no matter the level of product setups. Then the last superpower that I want to emphasize here is the data. I don't know any media that's more rich in data than video. So we can watch who watches what. Did they watch parts multiple times? Did they come back? And we can start integrating our entire second click flow in this. So I think video, for my side, is a really good way of communicating and has a lot of upsides. But today will be all about how we can gain these upsides, because in your industry and in industrial growth, we see a major disconnect right now. So I'm so happy watching the replies for you guys looking at video webinars is a source of how to generate leads and how to set all these things up. That's awesome. But there is still a major disconnect, as you have often very complex solutions and they are explained in heavy text files at first acquaintance. So that means that it can be hard to fully communicate on a wider level across all the social medias, the platforms, the engagement profiles that we see fit. And then again, tapping back to what we just heard from HubSpot, it's very important that we have multiple touch points, but also that we understand the user journey in this. So that being said, this is the most important part. Today, I will share 5 ways to win with video for industrial growth based on the use cases through our products and the strategic work with our customers. The first thing that I see important in this is that we definitely need to understand the premise. So what is the premise for using video across channels? And I think one of the most important things in this is that video, even though it's been used for a while, is still change management. So the opportunities within video still needs to be considered as change management. So how can we actually empower our teams with video? What is the underlying strategy that we need to do so? And there are many different ways that we can interact with video across the entire user journey. And it doesn't have to be video end to end, but there are so many ways. So I think the most important part is that we choose simple use cases, we get them tested, and we start looking into how can video actually attribute in this way? How can our teams benefit from the video that we are creating? Honestly, I think this is about making it easy. This is getting a head start, setting examples, because success in change management is often defined by ease of use, right? So let me share some ideas with you. The base idea for us is the strategic approach. Most are coming from a practical approach where we say video, 72% want to watch video. We need to create video. And then we start creating it and we start optimizing on it. Within industrial growth, the real results come when we twist this a bit. So when we look at the strategic approach. So back to the teams, back to the production. We can do production, we can do it in-house or out-house. No matter what we choose, we need to have a strategy. So what are we trying to improve in our business needs to be the first question at all times. So let's say I have a lot of people calling in asking about a specific product series. Would video be the right way to approach this? Yeah, maybe it would. We do see customers doing top 10 questions in their support and lowering the call-ins by number of video plays almost, right? Because if we approach it from, we need to improve X in our business, is video the right way? Then we can actually determine the right strategy across channels. And I will tell you why this is important. Because people engage differently with video in every media that you have. So looking at social media, we know that like this, we need to, every slide, yeah, I love that approach. You're absolutely right. Because you know what? This is key in video strategy right now. If we understand that people engage differently across medias, I promise you that you have a strategy set for success, making it easy here. So if people engage 6 seconds on Facebook, we see people engaging just over a minute on YouTube, but we see when we move people to our own sites, they actually engage almost 5 minutes on average. So where is your user journey best controlled? And how do we define this? So this is not so much about the engagement on platform, it's about understanding the strategy around it. Because what we need to do in this relation is that we need to be aware that each of these steps has different channels and they have different approaches, different goals. So when we're doing brand awareness, there's one type of video that we are creating. When we're doing user journeys, SEO, when we're doing like all these things on our sites, there's one approach. When we go to conversions, there's a different approach. People do not convert to the same thing throughout the funnel. So defining a strategy is much about doing these things and talking about back to the strategy. Now we can suddenly, instead of making one video and posting it across channels where people will use it differently, now we can create video that fits the format when we do the first shoot. I will give you a lot of examples on this. So I hope it will be inspiring to you. The second thing that I want to show you that I think is very important is that the 90-second rule or the 2-minute rule that many are talking about actually has a wide effect. I know that social medias has started talking about 3 minutes engagement at least, but as we see from the engagement numbers, this doesn't kind of correlate, right? But we see the majority of people producing videos shorter than 2 minutes. If we look at the rest of the funnel, we see like videos longer than 15 minutes only account for 10% of the production. But if we turn it upside down, looking at the engagement, more than 50% of the engagement actually comes from videos longer than 15 minutes. This doesn't mean that your audience will interact this way, but if you don't know this data, how will you create the right platforms, the right video formats to support your teams in setting the goal? This, of course, also is backing the webinar tendencies that we're seeing right now, or the hybrid tendencies that for sure will go on moving forward in this transition. So the premise is quite easy if we look at it as we need to understand different steps, different types of video. The first one that I want to look, the first area I want to look into is video. So when we look at video from this approach, how does it work? Let's start top of funnel. Actually, let's start at this, own the experience, because now suddenly it's not the approach as we saw before where a video or webinar is centered. Now we also look at how can we attract people to our videos, how can we re-engage people after watching a video, and how can we make them convert? And for video, this is actually the case that we need to attract them from social media, from SEO, from email marketing. We need to lead them to a place where they can watch the video. We need to collect the data to know what they're interested in so we can create a user journey, at some point convert them. For us, building tools for this, we have a very pragmatic approach to it. So we want to make tools that is kind of easy to understand and that we can use straight off, because then we can start the transformation. Then we can start putting it in our strategy and seeing the results right away. The important part here is, of course, that we can integrate this. So we would not have this data live anywhere else but our MarTech stack, for instance. If we have a CRM marketing automation, this data should be seamlessly integrated here, where we have all the engagement points from text and trade shows and whatever we are doing in the real world. But let me give you a few examples. If we start top of funnel, we did a test with a Danish brand called Årstiderne, who produce organic vegetables. And they looked into what would happen in our newsletter if we set a static picture versus a small GIF image. The GIF image overperformed with 62% increase in click-through rate. Because what happened was that people thought they were watching the video and they would click the video. Awesome conversion rate and suddenly small effects. I'm not saying that this will apply to you, but have you tested this? Have you looked into what happens? And then SEO. So most of the things, if 72% of your buyers are looking for video, they may be doing a wide search on Google in the first step. Are these videos from the newsletter when you create the GIF link and from the searches, are they leading to your pages? Are they leading to your embeds, or are you sending them off to third-party embeds like Vimeo and YouTube and all these channels where they live off having the link back? So this becomes very important, because now suddenly we can start affect SEO to point back to our sites. We can start do email marketing that points back to our sites on the content that people are most engaged in. But we need to be aware of this. As mentioned, right now we see that 95% of all video searches on Google leads to YouTube. There's no advantage put into this. By law, this is illegal. So this means that most companies would be using these third-party embeds, engaging on their own homepages. It creates a major challenge, as we see like most searches are actually made on Google. So it takes away most searches from your company on general searches. We see that the clickback rate when you are on YouTube is less than 1%. And we see that the average engagement time is 40 minutes. And I promise you, I will watch a football video. I will watch some guy playing guitar when I go there. So breaking the user journey, when we talk about the user experience, is not that well. But Casper, aren't we putting them as embeds on our own homepage? Yes, you are. In most cases, people are when they do this. And the challenge here is that any click in the video play will take you off. So you will interrupt the user journey that you spend time and money getting from social, email marketing, SEO, and so forth. At the same time, we see a challenge in this as privacy. GDPR is a major thing right now. So do we really want to have third-party embeds tracking our own homepage? What is the alternative to this? The alternative is owning the experience. And there are plenty of platforms to ensure this. But the most important part is that we own the user journey. What is the user experience? When I clicked from social or from email, I don't want to go to YouTube. I want to go to your homepage. You qualified me as being interested. So why don't you present more content that's relevant to me? Why don't we take full ownership of the user journey, as I showed you before? Why don't we take control of every click and conversion in this video, ensuring 100% time staying on your site? Why don't we make sure that lead scoring is attributed back to your pages, which is not possible if you don't own the embeds, if you don't own the data. So there's a major advantage in doing this. If we change the approach, we do see that people will start engaging more. We see 162% more engagement if you present the next video to me that's relevant for my user journey. I will do the second click And I know people working with social media, email marketing, and SEO, we are interested in the second click, because this is where people give us their consent. This is where we get the privacy thing signed. This is where we get their data to create a relevant user journey for these people. The last step of this is, of course, how do we do this? And one of the things that we work a lot with is collectors directly in the video. So what we often see is that the second click is outside of our video. So we will do a product page, and especially in the manufacturing industry, there are often like marketing automation integration pages that is set up this way. And it's awesome, and you can definitely use this. But another chance of setting this up is using it directly in the video, of course, in complete integration with your marketing automation. But we can place collectors different places in videos. So if we place them in the beginning, we see a much higher conversion rate, so as a wall. Whereas when we place them in the end of the video, the conversion rates are much lower. However, it's very interesting, because if we put in collectors, we do it often for two ways. We want to book a demo, we want to collect consent, or we want to have people sign up for a newsletter, for instance. But what we always want in this is also the second click. So the first second click, so to say, is in the video. But the real conversion is when people signing up for a newsletter actually opens the newsletter, when they actually show up for the demo, when they actually do these things. So there's definitely a strategy in trying out, testing out where in our video should we place these collectors, and do they work as intended? Because we see that more than 50% of the pipeline being created from named leads in videos when companies start testing this. So I think it's a great alternative to testing out the usual second click flow. All right, guys. I see comments here. It's interesting. Please also, put in your comments, because I think this is very engaging, and this is what video and webinar is all about, right? Because people do not watch the video until the end. Exactly. So let's dig into that a little later, because that is the content feedback that's so interesting. But let's just for a while look at the webinar setup, because the webinar setup initially is exactly the same. We have an end-to-end flow where we can affect different things. And how can we use video doing this? Because we do not only want people to sign up for the webinars, we also want them to show up for the webinars. And we have a great industrial case in Universal Robots, who has been working with this over the last 4 years, where they really tap into this. And I really like the results that we're seeing from this. So when we talk top of funnel again, what Universal Robots did was they said, like, what would actually happen when we promote our webinars? Instead of doing the stale text things that we do on LinkedIn or on email newsletters, what would happen if we started engaging? So we started promoting content. Those were a lot of the same words, but promoting content. So when we do the video and we record the webinar, why don't we record a pre-video for social media? And they saw two things happening here. So, like, how often do we get 207 likes for a webinar promotion? Not often, right? So we start understanding the different platforms. We start understanding the formats. This is a 20-second video. It works on LinkedIn. It works on how people use video on LinkedIn. Furthermore, they have the click. So they will say, like, if you're interested in how robots can help you package things, click the link. And what happens? We qualify our audiences. Like, the main challenge between marketing and sales is qualified audiences. So now we pretty surely know that if people click this link, they're interested in a webinar. They'll probably sign up. They'll probably show up. And on this campaign, Universal Robots saw a 65% conversion rate on their webinar landing page. So it works. They had the format of doing this, and it worked in the conversions. But Casper, was this a one-off? No, this is very interesting, because if we look across hundreds of webinars done by Universal Robots, we actually see that they generate over 100 leads on average per webinar. They have a landing page sign-up rate of 55%. Industry standard in this is like 15-20% at best. So just using this small step in the pre-flow promoting content, they're really able to engage people and qualify them from the beginning. So they will show up and they will sign up. And the show up will also generate a lot of engagement. So they have across all the webinars plus 40 minutes of engagement. That's 40 minutes spent with your brand. And now it might be that we're showing stats from social media and from YouTube, but 40 minutes doesn't compare to what most people are doing when they promote and when they send out these live shows or whatever they do on social media, not collecting the engagement. So we should definitely use these channels, but we should know how to use them and where do we collect the data, where do we embark on this user journey. One interesting thing is also, like when we see the full funnel, it's not only invites and the webinar, because we do not convert people at the webinar often. It's often in the post flow, as Dan also talked about. So what we see here is if we send out an email within 24 hours of the event, we have 80 to 90% open rate of these webinars. After a week, this will be only 50%. So the immediate response is incredibly important, that we can automate this, that we can set this out immediately. What we also see is that if you see me in an email after watching a talk that I did, then the open rate, the click rate in that video is 90% in most cases. So you recognize me, we established human connection, emotional connection, all these things that we talked about as the superpowers of video. And that short GIF of 2-3 seconds, it works. It makes me convert. It takes me, now if the webinar is not isolated as an end product, now it's the first step into an interesting user journey. I love this. I hope you do too, guys. So it's so simple, but it has such a profound effect. What we've been doing with our customers doing this is that creating simple tools that can affect this. So what we saw as the main challenge was that most companies are using 5, 6, 7, 8 tools to set up webinars, and it's a complicated production. So what we said, like, what if we create a tool where everything is put into one setup? So we create a box around it, and then when we launch it, it's very easy because everything is set up. So we can initially create a webinar in a localized language in 10 minutes with the full branding, with the full setup. And for our customers, this becomes key because we can start doing these things. We can start distributing to social. We can start sending out automated emails for the entire flow. I hope that you have this experience with the amazing NAL event today, because Karim is setting it up in this way, and I hope that he can vouch for that it's easy to do so. So make sure that your platform is doing this. Make sure that it's put on your own domain, in your own sites, and your own branding. We don't want to see a Zoom logo as users when we log into a webinar. We want to have the branded experience just as for video. All right. So let me just grab a sip of water. And if you do have any examples of how you've been using video and webinars in a different way since the pandemic, please feel free to share them, because we see that sharing these cases actually generates a lot of new ways to do it within companies.
Maybe we have some question. Can I? You prefer I use the question functionality at the end of your presentation, or can we interrupt you? Yeah.
Please.
Okay. We have a question from Derek. We have had very expensive experiences with video. Do you have low cost, high efficiency solution? This is one of the main problem with video. It can cost a lot to produce video.
Mm-hmm. Awesome question. Yes, absolutely. So I think that the answer to this is that, again, to my first, understand the premise. We need to set the right premise. Doing a webinar doesn't have to be high cost, high production. Right now, I'm sitting here with one single camera, one bulb of light, a microphone, and my computer. I can engage with the entire world. I can do webinars. I can engage my customer profiles, no matter if it's closed down webinars for onboarding or video for use cases and all these things. What I see as the most important part is actually the authenticity of people being on the camera. So if they, all the people that should be on your camera should be the ones believing in your products, being able to convey this message. Again, the finance guy doing the pricing, the CSM doing the onboarding of product talks and all these things. Karim is the perfect example, because he is so engaged in this. Every time I see him, no matter the channel, I believe and I listen to what he says, even though my French is very poor, and I'm sorry about that, but I try to understand it because I engage with it. I see this story. So for me, it doesn't have to be big production. Start off with lower production. And I think the main challenge of this is often that we need to, most enterprises need to not have so restricted branding. Like if our employees are saying good things in a different, it doesn't have to be 4K production.
You need to let people do it. If you want to have results with video, you need to produce a lot of video. We have been producing maybe 1 video per day since 2 years, and we are seeing a lot of results with our video strategy. Yeah. But I think if you want to have perfect video with your branding, with the perfect light, the perfect sound, you will not make a lot of videos. So you need to maybe just start with an iPhone, with a smartphone, and start to do video, start be authentic when you are trying to do video. Start, for example, my start was to answer people were asking me when I was on sales discussions. I used those conversations to put online with video some of the questions people were asking me. And this was not great. I had my face on the camera, very, very, very near from my face. But we have great results with this kind of authentic video. And this is a great way to start, even if you don't have a big budget. Yeah, definitely. And a story from our case, one of my first learnings was one of the takeaways from today is just do it. And I promise you, just do it. Because like when we started out this, I was doing a LinkedIn, promoting actually a live event back in the days, right? When that was possible. And I looked recently on my phone and I did 65 takes on this video. It needed to be absolutely perfect. I actually, seriously, I didn't blink on this video. But the challenge in this was that the response was not that good. So what I learned after doing a couple of videos was actually, when we do the authenticity in this, we had a BDR like doing outreaches, and he would just like doing a video for a customer. He would just like, so I have to show, sorry, I just have to take a sip of water. So what I was telling you is like the authenticity, like he was on camera. This was the guy talking to them. He was human. And what we saw, the response rates went up. The engagement rates went up when we stopped doing it polished when we start doing this. So the easy way to get started is the day-to-day videos. And these don't need to be expensive. These don't need to be polished. Of course, we need to have branding videos that looks awesome, like we played at Super Bowl or whatever budgets we have. But the most important thing is the authenticity in this, and that we get over the edge just doing it. Actually, start testing is the perfect next way of this, because this is exactly about start testing. So let me share you a true story about this from our own backland here. So not long ago, we decided we're going to go all in testing video against text again. We've been launching our personal video tool, and we started looking into how can we actually affect this. So what we did is that we send out 50% emails, pure text. We send out 50% emails with text and video. And what we saw was amazing. We saw not an effect in open rate. We saw a 500% increase in click rate, and we saw 67% increase in reply rate. And we were like, yeah, we figured it out. This works perfectly. Then we did another campaign. The results were upside down. And we're like, what? What? Like, we figured it out. Video is king. It's like, what happened? And then we were like, I promise you, I puzzled about this for many days. And I was like, puzzled, how can we look into this? Until it hit me, like, the personal videos that we do in the outreach or the follow-up that Dan also talked about is very important that we look at it in the same way. It's the same user journey. It's not just, yes, a video, I'm going to click it. 72% doesn't click the video because it is a video. They click it because of the outcome that comes. So we need to look at this in the same way that the text with the video should promote the video, and it should personalize the content. So I'm intrigued to clicking this. This is the social media or the newsletter, getting the clicks by making it relevant to the audiences. Then we can take them to our own sites where we can track them. And now we're looking for a different click. Now we're looking for the engagement that will then book the meeting or will sign up for newsletter or whatever our objective is. So when we started tapping into this, the numbers flattened out a bit. But actually what we saw is that we saw a 26, not open rate, not click rate, but reply rate across the emails using video, but where we set it up to understanding the user journey in this. So we motivate each step of this, and we did the follow-ups that needed to be done in this.
So this is a really good case of start testing, as Karim says as well, start testing because you will see the results. Then another testing case that we did that was very interesting. We actually did this a few years back. We were doing a lot of these outreaches as well. And what we started to see is like increase in meeting book rate. But me doing the meetings, I saw a lot of no-shows. And I was like, why is this happening? So what we did is that we used in a lunch break, we used 5 minutes doing a GIF that you will see on screen here of me sitting at the desk waiting with 2 cups of coffee, just wondering, where did you go? Like, why didn't you come? And what we saw here is the emotional response. So people started reacting to the emotional response. And what actually happened is, instead of us calling them up 10 times again, why didn't you come? And we cannot get hold of them. They started booking me in. So my HubSpot link down here just served as conversion. So those who were interested, those who were qualified would actually book me in again. So this was amazing. And we're just like, we need to do this all over. So right after, what we did as well, as a small thing, we changed all our email signatures. And I know some enterprises cannot do this using Outlook and stuff, but try testing it out, see what happens. Like just having a small picture of me waving at the bottom. And we actually see that people engage in a totally different way because there's a human behind the email. There's a human behind the message that's sent out. All right, and this takes me to my final point of quick wins, so to say, of how we can make it easy to win with video. So these understandings applies all the way, but the major benefit of this is, of course, the data. Because when we start owning the data instead of sending people off to third-party embeds, we can collect every data move in email. And this means that we can actually make a transition that is the most important in my head, other than just do it and getting started, getting on video and production, but that is collect the data. Because right now, video marketing is isolated. If we at all have these stats, if we use third-party embeds, we will only have vanity metrics. But if we own this, we own all the data. We can enrich our entire marketing automation. We can enrich everything we do with video. So if your customers are watching video, like 72% of the customers are looking for video, then imagine what is the price of missing this data? And what is the price of not seeing video as an isolated part? But this is important. So when we have our main event, we also have the post flow. So now we can, after the event, start to send out emails, leading people to watch more videos, leading people to ask more questions, to do all these things. And we can collect everything in one backend. So we know what emails did they answer, what videos did they watch part multiple times, did they skip the videos? So talking about content production, you say people do not watch the video to the end was a comment here. Amazing comment, and you're absolutely right. But if we own the data, we get this feedback right in our pockets. Okay, we can look across our videos. On average, our users are watching 2 minutes of a video. Let's produce videos within this time frame. Let's do webinars that are longer or shorter based on how our audiences respond to it. They're giving you feedback right back to you, but by the way they watch it, by the way they use it. So we can actually do this both in our pre-flow, our engagement flow, and our post-flow. We can re-engage people. We can start seeing exactly what they do and what they're interested in. The challenge is that most do not connect this. I mean, using HubSpot, using most other engagement tools, if you own the data, this should be integrated directly into your platform. This should be lead enrichment, like step 1, because you have all the data and you can push it from a platform directly into your setup. So we can automate this. So now we're talking UX on the user side as well. It needs to be easy. It needs to be automated so we can collect the ROI and the benefits that we're looking for. Because only then can we do what most ROI is actually created from. We can start, look at the inverted funnel. So who converted? What content converts our ICPs? And who should we re-engage? How should we go to social media? Who should we send this out to in email marketing? How should we set up our SEO taxonomy? How should we do all these things? That is the key of digital marketing, but for video, because video tells us all this. And then I gave you a short teaser in the video. I'm not sure if you watched it as it's invites for this event, but one of the challenges that we see right now is the challenges and the major tech challenge that's going on right now between Apple and Google and Amazon and all these channels. So we already talked about that SEO. When we use YouTube embeds, when we use all these things, then we don't have a connection. We don't have a connection to our own homepage. We don't have a connection to where we convert the customers, where we engage the customers, where we create that experience that will tie them to our brand and our messaging. So now we had the iOS 14 update. What went out? Social media marketing. Now we cannot retarget people on social media unless we have their phone number or their email. Now we need to own the data. We cannot say they've been on our page, but they did not convert, so let's put them in this audience. Unless people accept this, Apple users, of course. But this is spreading right now. So the privacy settings of this is becoming key in our digital marketing because we're losing all our quick go-to wins in re-engagement and all these things. We need to know who people are. And what happened this week? Apple came out saying in the fall, in our iOS 15 update, by the way, we're going to take out emailing as well. So now we do not know from our newsletters, are people actually clicking the emails? Are they watching the content that we send them if we send them to YouTube and all these things? So the entire user journey that we just talked about across video, across webinars, across personal videos, it becomes center and key that we have this on our own sites, because only then can we track the engagement that our top of funnel activities generate, and only then can we identify the users, the consents, the privacy settings, the cookie data, and all the things that we need to have in order to be compliant. So right now we are in a situation this fall that puts us in two situations. Either we own the data or we don't own the data. So if we keep leading people to third-party embeds that we do not own in terms of branding and in terms of tracking, then we have nothing. Then email marketing is just social media marketing. We need to re-engage it. We need to understand the platforms and we need to collect this data. So it's absolutely key that you collect the data, no matter how you do it, but just ensure that you do it. Because if it's free, then you're the product, right? And this is the case that's going on right now with all the free hostings and all the free embeds. You need to own this. This is your data. This is your customer experience. This is your user experience. You need to own this. And only then can we start the retargeting setup. Because then we can put in the collectors, we can get the consents, we can get the privacy settings, we can get everything we need in a digital setup for video and for the majority of people looking for video, right? So we can retarget them, we can do the inverted funnel, we can do all these things and create relevant user journeys. So let that be my message to you guys. I think this is so important right now. I hope that you got a few ideas on how to move video in an easy way that can push change management in this. And I heard someone whisper like, Casper, does this mean that we can gain a competitive advantage in using video? And the answer to this is oui. I promised Karim I would do a French slide. So this is it. Right? But what we need to understand in this is like the key takeaways that I hope that you will take with you today. First off, just do it, guys. Get started, get testing. Karim's example is perfect. I love this. Get tested. You will see the results. I guarantee you will see the results. Own the experience. Make sure that you are not the product. Make sure that you create great user experiences for your customers. Set the objective, create play. Do not do video for the sake of video. How does it fit into your strategies? How can you help customer support, onboarding, sales, all the areas that might benefit from this video? And then lastly, make sure that this is integrated. So this is where you collect the ROI, the benefits. And honestly, the value of digital is data, and we need to use it right. So I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to quickly promote that we are in September doing an event. So if you're looking for more inspiration from brands, like the amazing setup that Karim did today, put the dates in your calendar, and then we will let you more moving forward. But other than that, please let me know if you have any questions. And thank you so much for spending time with us here today.
We have a lot of questions.
Is that good or bad?
We already have Renan in the room. So I just take 5 minutes to choose some of the questions. I'm sorry for all people who ask questions, but I didn't want to interrupt you during the presentation. But some of the questions, the first one is one of my favorites, but we have those stats with YouTube. It's a question from Jean-Marc. Mm-hmm. You talked about how we need to have data. If we have this data on YouTube, but what is the difference between having this on YouTube and using a platform, a video marketing platform like 23?
Yeah, but it's a really good question, and I hear it a lot. But I will bet you next time I come to France, a large beer or a large bottle of wine that I don't think you have this data, because YouTube is managing vanity metrics. This is by law. So all social medias, we cannot do it personally referable. So you can never see that I watch this.
Yeah.
YouTube is a platform that is about getting you to spend more time on YouTube. So they're interested in your basic algorithm of how you watch more videos. And if the next video is a cat, it will show you a cat. If they get money from putting in your competitors' commercial, it will happen 5 times during your video. So this data is not available on YouTube.
You don't own the traffic on YouTube. And the difference, Jean-Marc, will be on the personalization. If you use a video marketing platform, you will be able to see that Jean-Marc, for example, have been on my video for 20 minutes. And I can, if I start building automation, marketing automation with that, I can send him a message because he was engaged in my video, etc. If you want, we will take a moment and I can show you that on the platform or on how you connect this to your CRM to bring information to your salespeople. Salespeople will have the information that this one have seen this video, and it will give your salespeople a lot of context. Yeah. Another question, maybe, let me choose one from Anne-Isabelle. Video promotion of webinars on LinkedIn, for example, might be affected by the algorithm. It might take days before it is seen by your targeted audience if they don't interact often with your post. How do you increase the audience?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And it's a really good question. And exactly the same as with YouTube, on LinkedIn. And when we are on top of funnel, we need to interact with the algorithms and how they work. So videos posted on social channels should always be posted natively to these or via ads that we set up. Mm. Again, it's about relevance. So these channels have the same objective as YouTube might have. They are interested in keeping people on their platform. So how can we always tap into this? And how can we make sure that people watch this, but then we only steal the traffic that's relevant for this? Yeah. So relevance is the key here. The more relevant content you promote to your audiences, the more people will like it, will click it, and the higher you will go in the algorithm. It's the same for any social media marketing. It needs to be relevant at all times. Just collecting people to follow you disrupts your channel. You need to have the people who are engaged following you, because that will up you in the algorithms.
I think you need to produce video for your audience, for helping people. This is the main objective, the main goal for your videos, to answer questions your customers, your prospective customers may have, not for the algorithm. If you start to play the algorithm game, you will lose. I can guarantee you myself. But if you start to build relevant content with a lot of content, you need to produce video with maybe a daily or weekly basis. Start from where you are here, you are today, but you need to answer the question people are already asking to your sales, to your services, to your CSM, etc. Exactly. This is the best way to bring engagement or to have a big audience. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time, but it will pay. A last question, maybe. I'm sorry, I need to choose. I'm trying to find one. Mm-hmm. Mohamed, for organic products, we will present videos of region of production and not product themselves. We try to create stories around the product. What do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. I think it's amazing. I think we always need to create video that's relevant to our audiences. So if this is what your audiences respond to, definitely go ahead. There's no content that we could do this and it works. Like, I hope my example was inspiration for our video outreaches in our outbound, because if we see the good results, then we know it's the right way. But as soon as it starts changing, and this is why I think video and change management overall, testing is the key, because we need to do small tests that will show results, and we get wiser every time we do it, just as Karim said as well. So definitely produce the content that works, and the content might be different. So I'm not saying don't use YouTube, but maybe you have a content channel of YouTube of one type of content that is not for lead generation, or that's not for user journeys that need to convert somehow, get the second click. And then we have, like, on our homepages, a type of content that works this way. So definitely use the content that works, but look at the data and look at how people interact with it. So it's not like YouTube counting a view through after 30 seconds, but we actually know, do people spend the 3 minutes in this video with us, or when do they jump out, right?
And the last one, do I need the big and fast servers if I have my videos only on my website? This is where 23 will come, I think.
Yeah, but this is too good. Karim, did you ask this question?
No. It's a question from Derek. I was sure that it was a good question for you.
Yeah, but this is exactly what a video marketing platform like 23 will do. So we will put every branding, every video embed, every video page. You can kind of create your own YouTube and put it on your site, but we take all the load. So we name this, we make sure that it's in your branding and your setup, but all the load is put on our servers, because it is important, both for Google, for email marketing, for everything, that it reacts fast when we lead people to the sites. And this shouldn't be a load put on your setup, as data load shouldn't be another silo in your organization. It should be fed into your current setup.
I will add, just to conclude, if you have your like you see on the top of this window, we are on video.agencenil.com. We are on our domain. This is the first thing. I am trying to bring traffic on my domain, and I'm trying to build authority on the SEO point of view. The second thing, most of you are manufacturing people. You have a lot of things to show. You can show your product, you can show your factory, you can show how your customers are using your product. And in fact, there is not a lot of people who are doing it. You can see big corporate videos that we will use on trade show, for example. But you can make every day a video with some people in your factory, showing one of our colleague building something, assembling something, and you can build your own content. And I can guarantee that we don't have this a lot of this content on YouTube or on the internet today. People don't know how products are made. So I think there is a big opportunity for manufacturing companies to invest a lot in videos.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in the beginning, honestly, we see, like, within manufacturing companies, one of the best areas where they can take the largest step in the beginning, but where they are most ready for testing this and trying it across different product webinars, videos, personal videos. So, like, we absolutely love working with you guys. And if you have any questions, just reach out. And Karim, I will definitely make sure to answer all questions coming in, so no one is sitting with unanswered questions in any strategic area of this.
Thank you very much, Casper. Thank you. If you have any question, let me know. You had we will have you will have the replay on the slides, and we will have the email and the LinkedIn profile of Casper. Don't hesitate to contact him or to contact me if you want more information about the 23 platform or video